Hi everyone and welcome to another edition of City Spotlight. I'm your host Pablo Pereira. We are at A.E. Wright Middle School today for a school safety program. You know, when these sixth graders behind me grow up a little bit, they'll get plenty of training on how to drive a car, something that we parents aren't probably looking too forward to. But considering they're in sixth grade, a lot of these students either ride bikes, skateboards, or scooters to school, and believe it or not, they don't get a whole lot of training on how to be safe. Well, all that's changed now, so let's go inside and check it out. All right, we're here with Bill Howard. He's with Safe Moves. You're a safety instructor out here at A.E. Wright today. Why don't you tell me a little bit about this program?
Well, what we're doing is we're teaching the students bike skills, especially now with summer coming up. They're going to have a lot of people here, a lot of vacationers. So their skills, even simple skills like looking when they ride, is really key. Being aware of various situations. Say like, are they coming to a business area? Are they coming to a residential? Knowing that traffic is greater in business areas, but still have to look for other things in residential. So it's really training them to deal with the various situations out when they're riding.
And how did this program get started?
It was started by Pat Hines. She's our executive director, and she had a friend actually die as a result of not wearing a helmet. So she is a crusader for that, and so brought about this program. In this case, it's a funding by the city of Calabasas and the Safe Routes to School program.
So this program's exclusive to this district, or is it bigger than this?
It's bigger than this. We're located in Los Angeles, but we have programs all over California, in San Diego, up in Northern California, the Bay Area. So it's we're kind of statewide now.
We have drivers training for kids. We don't really have drivers or biking for kids, do we, so much?
No, not so much. That's why this is a good program. It teaches them how to ride safely, what to be aware of, and really giving them the opportunity to actually to practice when they do become drivers so that they become more skilled, so that they're aware of things when they're out riding, but still having fun in the process.
What do you find that most kids don't know? I mean, these are 6th and 7th graders, I assume. I mean, they should know how to ride a bike. What are you finding that they don't know how to do?
That some of them, it's a matter of they're just not being really something that they do a lot. So they don't have the skills like looking around and making sure they're aware of their situation, which is really key, because there are, like you mentioned, drivers training. Sometimes the drivers maybe not are watching for them. That's why we tell the students to wear bright colors. So if they're visible to drivers and they have the skills, they can deal with the varying situations that will occur out when they're out riding a bike.
So you say they don't have a lot of training. Are kids riding bikes less than we used to?
I found it varies from community to community. Sometimes they ride more, like in Northern California they do. We have had a lot of riders here in Calabasas, so it appears to me from what I'm seeing, right here there's a lot of riders.
And what's the number one mistake they make?
Not stopping at stop signs. In fact, that's one of the major reasons why cyclists get hit. They don't stop at the stop signs, and the car doesn't stop. Makes it more difficult for them.
And statistically, what do we know about injuries in kids and bikes?
That a lot of times it is from they're not wearing a helmet, they're not being aware of various traffic rules. So it's that combination that makes for injuries and sadly sometimes death. But this program helps them to where they can not only wear the helmet, which is the law for them, but having the skills when they're out riding to practice them.
Why does the city feel this is important for the schools?
There are multiple reasons we think this program is important. Number one, we just did infrastructure improvements in school areas around the city, and we would like to make sure now we follow it up with education. So now we not only improve safety by physically doing some improvements for the crosswalk and sidewalks, we also would like to know that kids now know how to use those pedestrian facility. And another thing that this company that does this program, pilot program for us right now, we think that they're bringing up very valuable points for just the overall education kids about pedestrian and bicycle safety.
How big a problem? I talked to the captain of the sheriff's department the other day, and he said for him in the sheriff's department, traffic is really near the top of his list of things in this city. Would you concur, agree with that?
Yes, we have our worst traffic situation in the city is around the school pickup and drop-off times, and this is our biggest focus. We would like to make sure those peak hour times, are safe in our city.
And what about kids and bikes? What have you seen? I mean, you're part of the traffic department here, part of the engineering department. What have you seen over the past few years since you've been doing that?
We don't have too much of the children bicycle traffic in the city of Calabasas. We would like it to be improved, and would like to explain kids that it's safe enough to do that as long as they follow the rules of the road.
Some kids are riding scooters or rollerblades or skateboards. I guess what you learn here today can apply to any of those.
That is correct. That is correct.
So what do you hope the kids get out of this today?
I hope, first of all, they know more about how to use pedestrian facility, how to keep themselves safe. Maybe they'll tell their parents, some valuable, notes. They will make some valuable notes how they're supposed to behave around schools. And also that will improve their health situation as well, because we would like them to stay active.
And helmets are not a luxury, they're a requirement, aren't they?
They are.
So you were doing kind of an interesting exercise out here today that was quite different than what your partner was doing. I mean, he did the more traditional bike things. Can you explain what you were up to today in a very animated way?
Sure, no problem. It's a theater game that I learned back from my years of doing theater. It's called Zap, Zip, Boing. And what it is, it's kind of a rock, paper, scissors move where zaps, you can't zap a zip and you can't zip a boing, things like that. There are different rules to it. But what it is it keeps you alert. It makes you what I call you have your rapid fire memory, because things happen so fast and you have to react to it. You only get 2 seconds to react. And if you don't get the right answer, then you have to sit down in the mush pile. We have all the kids yell mush, you go in the mush pile. So what that does is it trains them, even when there's an exciting situation going on, when they're on their bike, skateboard, scooter, or rollerblades, what have you, they have to stay alert no matter what. So what this game does is it catches people off guard, because you could just shoot a zap to anyone. And if they're not paying attention, they're out. Or you can zip anyone. And if they're not paying attention, they're out. So it just got them really paying more attention close to what's going on. So I have that's a transferable skill when they're out there riding their bikes and they may see something fun. They have to remember, wait a minute, safety first. I need to get it together. So that's what that little game is all about.
And I noticed one of the things you were talking to them about was eye contact. Why don't you talk about that?
I teach the kids eye contact because it's very important, because now we live in a technology era where they have cell phones, they have iPods, they have handheld video games. So it's very important now, even the drivers have these things. So I teach the kids eye contact. They want to be able to see the driver's eyes so that they know that the driver sees them. And then that lets them know that, hey, the driver's looking at me, I'm looking at you, driver, so that holds them both accountable whenever they want to cross the street or do anything like that. So stress the eye contact. They have to get that eye contact, and they have to be held responsible. They have to be safe as much as the driver has to be safe.
So let's talk a little bit about the technology that you mentioned, cell phones and things like that. When you and I were younger and riding bikes, we didn't really have to worry about that so much.
No, we didn't have to worry about cell phones, texting. We didn't have to worry about iPods. But now things are so lightweight and they're so accessible to these kids that they just feel like they could just use it whenever. But there's a time and a place for everything. So I like to stress to the kids, when you're out, make sure you put that stuff away. When you have the iPods on, please keep one ear free because you want to hear what's going on. Don't look down while you're texting. Don't text. Don't play the video games. Sit somewhere and do that stuff because it's very important. You have to look.
They're not doing that so much on their bikes, or are they?
Actually, yes. There are many children that are actually texting while on their bikes. And it's amazing to me. They're on their cell phones and they even have their iPods with noise-canceling headphones so they can't hear anything. And they really need to wake up. This is very dangerous for them to do.
All right, so that's a parent's responsibility. What would you tell parents then?
I would tell parents to make sure that they check their children's backpacks, make sure they don't have these devices, taking them to school, make sure they check all of this, and they have to enforce because we can only hit so many schools, but it's up to the parents to enforce those rules so that they stay safe because as much as parents are worried that their kids are gone, that if they're really, really worried, make sure they tell them this stuff so that they can stay aware and make it back home safely.
So the flip side of this is the driver who's now distracted. Their eyes aren't always on the road now because they're doing the same things while these young kids are out trying to get to school.
Yes, it's true. These drivers are very, very distracted. They're causing a lot of accidents, but I can't just put it all on the driver because we're now giving the children the tools to make sure they stay safe. They have to be responsible for their own bodies, so they have to get on board and be aware and stay safe as well.
And what about the number of accidents involving school kids and bikes and traffic? What's your experience recently, statistically at least?
Well, statistically, they say that every 9 minutes a pedestrian is hurt in this nation, and every 119 minutes a pedestrian is killed. And those are staggering statistics. So we really need to get it out to the community and let them know that, hey, this is happening. We need to be careful, and we need to spread the word. Keep these children safe, and also keep these drivers safe, too.
One of the things that we're doing now is showing the students how to be safe as a pedestrian. 5 major reasons why pedestrians are injured or killed. Mid-block crossings is one of them. He's crossing outside the crosswalk. They get hit in crosswalks. A lot of times it's like the traffic signal light. Cars turn and hit them. Cars also hit pedestrians after they pass school buses. The pedestrian doesn't look, so we teach them to look after they pass the bus. The bus driver may see them, but not the car that may pass them, which is over a $400 fine for doing that here in Los Angeles area. They also get hit playing around big trucks like ice cream trucks and other vehicles like that, usually littler children. And then cars back into pedestrians from driveways, parking lots in the street. So just familiarizing them with those basic information is helpful to them because sometimes pedestrians, they'll enter a crosswalk and think they're protected. I always like to tell my students that the crosswalk lines are not protection, they're 2 lines of paint.
So tell me what you learned here today.
I learned how to be safe while riding a bike in the middle of the street.
What did you learn that you didn't know before?
How to look before, how to see the cars, and to still be riding your bike, and to be more safe in the street.
You think this is a lesson you'll remember?
Yes.
Okay. And what did you learn today?
I learned a bunch of things. One of them was that you always have to go to a curb or a crosswalk to cross, and I didn't know how much a jaywalking ticket was, especially that. And I learned to be safe, and I will definitely remember this lesson.
And what did you learn?
Well, of the many things I learned, I definitely learned that if a car is pulling out of an alleyway, that our active traffic has the right of way.
What else?
Let's see. I learned that you have to cross at a crosswalk, or better yet, with a crossing guard, or at a corner.
Okay. And what did you learn?
That there's 4 ways to look when you cross the street.
What are the 4 ways to look?
Left, right, forward, and back.
Why do you think that's important?
So if a car's coming from behind you, so you look and then you see the car, then you wait. And then if you don't look, you could get hit by the car.
Well, that's going to do it for this edition of City Spotlight. We hope you've enjoyed the program. We'd like to thank the folks at safemoves.org for their assistance today, which is all part of the city's Safe Routes to School program. For more information, you can log on to our website, cityofcalabasas.com. I'm Pablo Pereira. Thanks for joining us.